Good evening, everyone. I'm Joe Montalvo. Writers of the future this week, guys. It's insane down here. Look, people, submit because it's an insane place to be. It's a good kind of insane. It's not a bad kind of insane. They do work the hell out of these people. You know, it's interesting that they fly them down, you give them money, and then they work the crap out of them the whole time they're here. It's insane how much work goes on. So, go ahead, tell me your name and
Okay, I'm JL George, but call me Jess, one of the writers from Volume 36.
well, I love that accent, by the way.
Thank you.
It's so nice to hear mixed accents in these groups. I don't want to be the only crazy accent going around. It's just one of the things. Oh, writer, author, I mean illustrator,
So,
author. Oh, so which story was yours?
so it was called Catching My Death.
I, think, I don't want to say I remember. Oh, I think. Well, we'll talk about
Yeah,
it some point. You can come back to my head.
yeah,
Little trick. I'm gonna tell you. This is one of the lectures I'm gonna give right at the very end of all of this. You can get a host, and you can put a host on the back feet by just asking them, and they tell you, "Oh, I read your story." Ask them something about your story.
all right, okay.
Okay, and if they like, you got your ass.
Yeah,
They're right on their back. That's why I say sometimes I remember, sometimes I don't. And if I
yeah,
remember, like you heard me when I was talking to yours, because I
yeah,
remember the story, and I'm like, oh no, no, And one of the girls got me really last year. I only remember like a part of the story. So I remember this part. She goes, Joe, what about this? I'm like, she said, oh, I said, damn, you got me out of this damn thing. And she was like, but it gives y'all the control. It
yeah,
takes the control away from me and gives it to y'all. So it makes the host have to work. And then he's got to get in and ask questions and find out what he's really about.
yeah,
Because now you make him look like an idiot or her like an idiot. It doesn't really matter if he's a male or him. It doesn't really matter what sex they are. It just makes him look like an idiot. And it's a good way to get you. Because some of them can read, like my host, Jeffrey.
yeah.
Every book that's sent to him, he gets 4 or 5 a week, he reads every one of them.
Wow.
And some of it's got a memory like a trap because he remembers everything in the damn books. I don't know how he does it, he just does it. And he's really good. He'll probably invite a couple of y'all on the show too. He's really into a lot of different kind of sci-fi, a lot of different genres. He's your typical nerdy geek, is what it is. And he's about in his mid 40s, but he's a blast to talk to. He's got energy too. So, Arthur, Miss Arthur, what made you think you could write?
Well, I guess kind of when I was really young, I used to have this thing with my dad. I was really into dinosaurs. So he would sit there when I was getting ready for bed, and I would make up these long stories with all the dinosaurs with different characters, and there were good guys and bad guys, and a gang of dinosaur thieves. And then I gradually just graduated to
Well,
writing
no,
stuff
that
down.
works.
Yeah, yeah,
A good friend of mine, we used to go walking when we were young. He'd make up all these stories. He writes now.
yeah,
He writes for a living now too.
yeah,
And I used to tell him, I said, man, them are good stories. You're like, I ain't never write them. And for some reason, when I went into service, he was in the service. He got thrown out, and he just couldn't take it anymore. And he calls me and said, I think I'm gonna get you something right. And he sent me his first manuscript when I read. I said, dude, this is fabulous. I forgot who he submitted to. They picked it right up. They turned it into a novel within like a month.
yeah,
And then it started going through all the editing process and all. And he didn't make that much money after first. I don't want to say he made 5 or 10 grand, but now that he's got a books to his credit, he makes money off of it. He gets commissioned to write books. I mean, his last one they commissioned, they gave $500,000 down, and that was only 25% of what he was going to make. And then after, if it sold X amount of copies, he got more money. I was like, damn, man, I need to learn how to write something. I was like, Jesus. And he never submitted to anybody. He just went out on his own. And I don't even know how he got to the first original publisher. I have to ask him about it. Dinosaur story sounds fun. So tell me about this story.
so it kind of exists in this world where your death is actually a little creature, and it follows you around. And they have this coming of age ritual where when you're becoming an adult, you go into the forest and you catch your death, and you hope that you get a little cute, friendly one, because then you're going to have a good long life.
I like that
But
idea.
the main character, of course, she doesn't, so she decides she's going to do something about it.
See, that's interesting in itself. I'd say you just one afternoon, that's what you decided to write. Or, I mean, well, let's go back for a second. How many times did you submit?
Twice.
Oh, what all these new winners this year? Is it like planet changing or something up there? Lord, that made you think the moon's gonna fall out of the sky and stuff. There's just a lot of first timers. So, what made you decide to write for Writers of the Future or submit to Writers of the Future?
To be honest, I was just looking through, you get websites like the Submissions Grinder online that kind of, you say, I've got a fantasy story, I've got a science fiction story, where can I send it? And I just searched on
We
that.
have a huge audience in the UK. I took over Pioneer Radio, which was in London and in Hong Kong.
Oh, cool.
And it was a friend of mine. She said, I'm retiring. I said, okay, that's how I got into China. When they brought Hong Kong back into China, we were still there. And I got a letter from the media department, and they said, hey, look, as long as you don't talk about Xi Jinping, we'll let you go to a couple provinces. Now we're in, I think, we're in every province. We're in all the major cities in China. We're all over Europe. And London's interesting because a lot of our main shows air technically be 1 o'clock in the morning. So we're like the coast to coast over there. And when I do UFO on the coverage, there's a fabulous, usually 200,000 or 300,000 people just out of London itself. And then we got to support other. I'm going over there not until next year. Cause recently I did some DNA research. Mm-hmm. My last name's Talbot, something in Mediterranean. I come find I'm 11% Mediterranean.
Yeah.
I'm 45% Welsh, Scottish, and Irish. Explains my grandmother's red hair and green eyes now. My grandma said. I was like, man, somebody been lying in his family. But I mean, it's just a progression. My family actually came to Venice and moved to that area. But it was interesting. So next book, got it in mind?
I had one that came out in October, so that's kind of new, and I'm working on the second one now.
Now you keep in touch with these people and these judges. They like y'all to keep in touch with them. They want to see y'all helped out. Well, y'all haven't seen Dean and Todd yet on the stage yet.
Todd, talked to us a little bit earlier. I haven't had Dean yet.
Todd's great. He's a lot of fun. He's great. Last year, him and Dean were talking. Somewhere along the middle of this conversation, they didn't agree. Then it was great. They didn't get nasty with each other, nothing, but it was great. Dean said, no, it's not Harry. Todd said, yes, it is Harry. They were talking about advertising. I think Todd had some big displays behind him. Dean said, he don't need that. They were going back and forth for like 20 minutes. And I guess you could take it either way. I mean, but it's good because it shows out that there is more than one way to do something.
Yeah.
And it makes it easier. What was I going to ask you? Oh, so everybody treated you good. Nobody gave you any stuff. Nobody beat you up or nothing.
Nobody
made fun of you and nothing.
Very nice. I mean, it's a whirlwind. It's a crazy whirlwind.
It's a crazy whirlwind. And it's how you find your fellow writers and your fellow authors crazy. Yeah, they're crazy. I'll say it for you, not just teasing.
You have to be a little bit, don't you? But yeah, no, it's fantastic. Great group of people.
The authors here this year are good. The illustrators are good. See, for me, this year I find the illustrators I like a little better because there seems to be a little more color in the artwork this year. A lot of the stories are really good sci-fi this year. Don't get me wrong. Last year, there wasn't as much science fiction as there was more fantasy and stuff along those lines, which I'm not a fan of, but I'm a little more on the sci-fi side. Somebody told me to submit some D&D story this year. Like, wait, you're writing about Dungeons and Dragons? I was confused at that point. I'm like, well, whatever you think you can write, I'm all for it. I'll read something. Yeah, because they always send me these early. Y'all read Fear? Yeah, I know they were pushing. I haven't read it either. See, it's still in the wrapper. But they always send me these ahead of time. And I got one of their pads that has all the L.Ron Hubbard stuff on it. And I told them to send it to me in audio because I drive a lot. So I said, I'll just put my phone on and listen to it that way. That's something you might want to think about audiobooks if you're a writer, because there are people like me who like it, but we don't have the time to read, so we'd rather have an audio. It's nice to have a decent voice. I was going to transfer this into Microsoft, but I don't want to just hear that weird sounded voice the whole time. I might go up and shoot somebody, so we don't want to do that. So you went on a tour for Author Services, huh? They took y'all across the street and walked y'all around.
Oh, yeah.
And you didn't want to take that coffee machine home with you? You didn't get to see it. You didn't get to see it. Oh, man. So on the side, they got this massive, it's like this tall. Yeah. It's this big around and it's wide at the bottom. It's an espresso machine is what it is. That makes a good cup of coffee. Love to get back over there. Yeah. I had, John knows how to use it, but I forgot who made it. Man, I was just getting it. I was over there with Tom. We went on a personal tour. Just started drinking my coffee, and Don says, "It's time for you, Alexa." What do you mean I just got over here, man? Let me drink my coffee. It's and I don't actually come here to lecture. It's just they like me to talk about press to help y'all to deal with assholes like me. It's because you're gonna find people will call you if you're an author to criticize your book.
Yeah.
Don't put up. I mean, if you feel like you can go head to head with a host, but be sure you can, because most hosts are gonna beat y'all alive. Somebody, I'm gonna toy with you, then I'm gonna beat you alive. And then I'm going to be laughing while I'm doing it. So be sure. And I tell people, don't even worry about it. If you're on a phone with a host and they start acting like an ass, click. or you're on the internet, click. You have the control, not them. Don't, if you give them the control, they'll abuse it. They're going to be a lot of good hosts that can read your book, and like it, or they can see your artwork and like it. But they're going to be people that were sitting around, drinking coffee, saying, "Oh, well, this is stupid," or "This is ugly." Don't pay attention to that. It's not something you have to deal with. I've had people walk off of stages. I've walked off a stage before, and it's yours. You don't have to worry. And I always do the same thing. I always tell them, I'm walking off stage. You don't have permission to use my material because it's being recorded. Same thing if I'm on the air. And that, of course, puts them out of the ballpark. There's nothing they can do at that point. You made them look like a complete and utter ass. And everybody who sees that now is going to look at that host as a complete and utter ass. But if you stay and fight, you're going to be the one that looks like a complete and utter ass, and not them. So it's just something to think about. It's unfortunately, we live in a weird time now. And the lack of, it used to be in old days, radio, there was an X amount of respect to it. But now that we've got, 200 billion podcasts around the planet, it's a little bit different. And podcasters are not near as refined as FM hosts are. It's a whole different thing. We actually broadcast on 2 different FM setups, but it's so our hosts have to be a little bit more strict about what they're doing and how they're acting. But it's a good thing. So you get to talk to John, didn't you?
A little bit, yeah.
He's high energy.
Yeah.
The power cup. You see Emily, she's like, I told her that. I said, are you like an elf or something? I said, what the hell? I said, I know what you are. You're an alien. She can't sit still.
Yeah.
And I seen her tonight. I said, hi, Emily. I said, bye, Emily. She said, why are you going? I said, I know you're leaving. So I'm out of here. Last year, starting on Tuesday, the only time you could see her, she was like the elusive elf or something. Late night, around 10 or 11 o'clock, she'd be downstairs having a glass of wine. I got a couple of good shots of her. It's she's just nonstop. I don't know how she does it. She goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. But she's also a sweetie pie, actually, they are one of the nicest couples I had the pleasure to do in a long time. And so, which judges have y'all not heard yet for the Oscars? Where are y'all? Because I haven't been down there yet.
So it's mostly been to Tim and Jodie.
Yeah, no, Tim and Jodie.
Yeah.
Tim can be a little bit strange sometimes. He's high energy too sometimes. Jodie just gives me nonstop shit. She's like, yeah, well, I don't exactly agree with that, Tim. That's not how that's going to go. And I'm glad to see her stand up because he's a big name. He's been around for a while. He's got a lot of good. I had the pleasure of meeting the author of Dune last year, and I remember when I introduced me to him, I looked at this guy and I'm serious because just like this. So I'm going to tell you this one time, if I go watch this movie and it sucks, I'm coming for it. And I said, I'm a fan of the original. I don't like none of the remakes so far. And you screw it up, I know you. And then so I go watch it. It stops right in the middle. I said, it wasn't bad. I said, do you want to get mad at him or just wait for part 2 and then get mad at him? But he did a good job with part 1. So, but there was quite a few big authors here last year, which was kind of nice. And what was his name from Ender's Game was here, and somebody else. He's a pretty big sci-fi. I can't think of the name from Mockingbird was here, and then somebody else that came by. And then when we got over to the gala, there was a couple of big names out over there. The guy from 21 Jump Street was there. There was seemed like a lot of daytime people. They're like, you want to miss? And now need to be no daytime people. It's not something. I will tell you a little secret. There's going to be a lady there from China. She's an American. She represents an audience of about 550 million. So be nice to her. I'll introduce y'all to her when we get out there because I'll be running around with a carpet all over the place. And but she's got a big audience. I remember somebody introduced me to him. Joe's got like 20 million people, and she started smiling. I said, "Oh, this can't be a good smile." I said, "Well, what's your audience? You've got 550 million." I'm like, Jesus, but it's China.
Yeah.
It's China. So that is market, both in art and it's interesting about this. Today, you can market stuff in India, in China, in Russia. Well, I would say Russia and Ukraine, but you might have to wait on that a little bit. But I've seen we had authors last year from the Middle East. Well, so. It's just another. We had actually, I think we had also from the Middle East each year now. Yeah, I think we almost fly land last year. And, we broadcast in Iran, we broadcast in Taiwan and in Jerusalem. It's just we're everywhere these days, so it makes it easier for y'all. So when y'all get out there, these interviews are going to be heard by a group of audiences, but because they're small interviews, they're not going to be often as much. But still, they're going to run full time. They will be up on the website. They're all going to be on YouTube automatically, but we're going to put them on the website probably next day or two, so they'll be up there as well. So next plan, where you going? moving to Florida?
I think that I'm working on another
Yeah.
book at the moment. I'm on my second draft of it now,
So
so
where,
I'm hoping that'll give it a first on soon.
on another note, where are you in the UK?
Cardiff, so in
Oh,
Wales.
well, I gotta say, I only know that from Doctor Who. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, they filmed Doctor Who around Berkeley quite a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah, I know. I know because you always hear him talking about it. You always say, "I can't believe we've landed here again." I'm like, whatever, man.
Part of London is it's pretending to be today.
Yes, it's a little strange, but it is kind of cool that they actually do that. Oh, on a side note, those who were talking about Doctor Who, what do you think about the new female Doctor? Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen some of it. Yeah, I think she's great.
I think she needs a new
Yeah.
writer, is what I think.
Yeah.
I don't have nothing personally against her because I've seen her in
Yeah.
other stuff, so I
Yeah.
know she can act. But for some
Yeah.
reason, they seem to be
It's
giving
lost
her.
something, right?
They seem to be giving her weird stories. I don't mind the woke stories. I can deal with that. But some of the stuff lately, has been okay. And now I don't know who they're replacing. I know she's going away this year with somebody else.
Yeah.
Maybe they should play for Doctor Who.
One day.
Yeah, just submit it. Before I let you go, this is something else, especially for the authors. All the sci-fi genres, all the TV shows are always looking for stories.
Yeah.
Now, the only thing I was ever told by anybody who writes for me said, just don't write in the first person. Don't write it about you. Write it about the characters. Which, because I was talking to one of the writers of it, and he said, they always submit this stuff, and they're the cute part of the story. No, we don't want that. Here's the people that's in the story. You can put a protagonist in there, but you still have to use these people in the story. And I know they buy a lot of stories. They buy a lot of stories they don't even use sometimes. They'll put them and they'll sit somewhere and then they use them 10 years down the line or something. So there's always that kind of stuff. And since you're in the UK, there's a lot of weird sci-fi in the UK. You have a completely different sense of humor than you do, which is great. It's just different. So you should be okay over there. And I know they're looking for authors all over there.
Yeah.
I was talking to a friend of mine in Germany. He said they've been having a hard time getting stories. He works on some, I can't remember because I can't pronounce it as live. He said, I said, is it in English? He said, no. I said, well, I'm never going to watch it. He said, I'll translate. I said, no, I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to read it. No. I said, tell me when it's in English and I'll go watch it. But you can definitely do those kind of things.
Yeah.
I'm married, personally. You don't have to answer the question. You can say, shut up, Jack.
I've got a partner. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Everybody should have a partner, I guess. I've been married for 4 years. I can't say anything. I have a wife from the other side from some other planet. That's the only way she could put up with it. Something else just slipped out of my head. What was it? Oh, that's the top of my head. Switch call it one of those. Website?
Yeah, it's www.jl-george.com.
I love y'all use y'all's name. That is so good to do. Because you can make up, any kind of thing, but man, using your name that just helps people. You got to watch your kind of name's kind of close to J.K. Rowling, so and he asked for there you go. You write one of those. I know she just recently said she was looking for writers to help write her next series, which I don't know what it's going to be. She caught her on one of the late night TV shows, and I can watch her and I love her work as long as she don't talk about politics. I'm good with it. Once she goes there, I got to turn the television on. I'm like, okay, that's enough of that. I got to move on to something else. So that's a lesson for y'all. You ever talk about politics in your books?
Well, kind of. I feel like your personal politics is part of how you see the world, right? So it's going to make its way in there somehow. Yeah. Cool. As long as you're not kind of.
I ask that question a lot of times. People tell me no, and I'm like, it's impossible not to put it in. Yeah. Because it is part of who and what you are. You always get the Aussies too. You can't let Chris get all the work done. Anyway, we're gonna leave Chris alone. He's just kind of funny. So you got your website in, we got everything in, just make sure we're not missing anything. Any parting words? Any advice for people coming into the field?
Don't self-reject, I think. Yes. Whatever kind of opportunity it is, don't think, they won't like it, or it's too weird. You've got to put yourself out there.
Oh, Janice just wrote. Janice said, have you been rejected by anybody that you submitted your books to?
Well, I think writers get rejected all the time.
But I think what she means, were they mean about it, or because she had, this is somebody I know, and she had told me one time she had submitted a book to one of the companies up in New York, and she said it was so rude when they sent me the rejection letter.
Yeah.
I said, well, why does the future not do that? They just say, let's submit again. That's all they tell you. You get that call sometimes. Oh, that's what I wanted to ask you, Joan. Y'all like Joni? How y'all think about Joni? Yeah, everybody likes Joni because she the one calling you. She's talking about high energy. Oh my God.
She's a force of nature, isn't
Oh
she?
yeah, she is. And we watched because I was giving her hell at the awards last year. She was beautiful dress. I said, "Why don't you come over here by me, Joni?" Because actually, was actually sitting between her and me last year. And by the way, they are going to shoot y'all a lot when they're there. They're real good camera people. You know, they want to see y'all's expressions. They want to see your face. When you hit the red carpet, it's going to be nonstop. There'll be group shots, single shots, two people shots, and all that stuff. But I know we got to get out of here because I got to feed these guys so they can get to bed. I don't want nobody turning into pumpkins and Emily coming and looking for me. Or worse than that, Echo or somebody else coming looking for me. I think we're good on that. Did I get everything? Yeah, we got it. You ready?
Okay.
Good click and